7-0 in Mountain West Conference play. They got out of Utah State the other night with a hard-fought 74-69 OT win over the Aggies, and now they've won 17 straight. And we head out our weekly conversation with their assistant basketball coach, David Velasquez, joins me on the Mighty 1090. And, hey, you're out recruiting, I understand, talking to your cohort, Justin Hudson, last night.
Yeah, I'm out on the road right now. I'm on some deserted highway driving somewhere, Coach. And I can tell you I'm actually on my way back to take a red-eye to Boston tonight to go check up on our guy, Kevin Zabo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm going to go make sure everything's going good with him. And he still feels love from his Aztecs, even though he knows he's coming to play for us next year. But excited to go check him out and check in on him.
Now, give us a little refresher course. Is he at prep school, right?
Yeah, prep school called Brewster Academy.
And what kind of years he had so far?
It's a pretty good year for him. You know, they're one of the best in the country. They're kind of like the San Diego State Aztecs of college basketball, if you will. They're up there in the top 5 to 10 in their prep school, and they've had some really big wins. I think they've only lost one time this year as well. And he plays against high-level competition. Everyone on his team is going to Division I basketball. Usually the teams he plays against are all going against prep school guys that are there to go to Division I.
You know, prep school seems to be a lot bigger back east than it is out here. Now, tell me a little bit about the one that's over in Vegas, Finley Prep. They've come on the scene over the last few years.
Yeah, Finley's done a really good job. You know, it's only 13 kids in the school, and it's the 13 kids that are on the basketball team. So people might kind of frown up or think that's strange, but it really is the way it is. And they do have classes that they take, and you know, everything is pretty legit over there, and obviously that's where Winston Shepard went, so we're pretty familiar with Finley.
Oak Hill Academy still a power?
Absolutely, Coach. They're still churning out players left and right.
Hey, these prep schools, how many games will they play in a year? 30 plus?
Around that, like a Division I college schedule. You know, sometimes it's hard due to their travel. They can't get around as much. They'll play a few teams that are kind of just other prep schools in the area, like you said, the East Coast. But Finley's probably, I would say it's about that, 30 games a year.
Now, you're coming back to San Diego to catch a plane to go to Boston?
No. I'm out in Phoenix. I'm going to take a red out of Boston. I stayed in Arizona for the day.
Oh, okay. And so how long will you be in Boston? Will you be back on the bench Saturday?
I will be back on the bench Saturday. I got a couple more stops after tomorrow in Boston. I won't be in Boston for more than 24 hours. But I will be. I got to make a couple stops on the way back from Boston to San Diego.
Now, are you going to see Kevin play tomorrow night?
Yeah, that's what I'm really excited about, is to get a chance to sit there and watch Kevin play and know that he has a chance to play a huge role for us next year. The similar type of role that Xavier Thames is playing this year, but you know, probably a different type of player, but he's definitely going to have the ball in his hands quite a bit.
We're visiting with David Velasquez out on the road, but he'll be back for the ball game on Saturday against Colorado State. Well, you guys got out of there by the skin of your teeth the other night. You and I talked about it. We knew it was going to be a very difficult game, and that Utah State crowd and their players, they were up to the task, and they pushed you to the limit the other night.
They brought it, and they brought it in every factor, every degree. They were so good on the floor. Obviously, their fans are special. But when we made a mistake, Coach, we got punished for every single defensive mistake we made, which isn't very many, knowing that we're one of the hardest teams to score on in the country. But they really punished us on some mistakes we made, and they made it really hard for us to score each time down, switching up the defenses. That was a game that we talked about as a staff after. I don't know if there was a harder win than any other win we've had this year, besides that one at Utah State. When you bring in all the variables, when you bring in that was a top 10 team going into that place, they were jumping, ready to go an hour before tip. That was a special win for us to win in overtime, for them to make the shot, a ridiculous shot to send it into overtime. So that was a huge win for not only this year, but hopefully moving forward. And that was great for Xavier.
You know, I was mentioning to Justin last night on the program, Utah State went to the foul line in a packed arena the other night, and normally the home team gets a call here and there. They shot a total of 7 free throws. They were 2 of 7 on free throws. You guys got to the line 29 times and canned 20 of them, and that shows me you guys are attacking the rim.
Yeah, that's our strength this year offensively. It's really, having the ability to have different guys be able to attack the rim. And also, it's kind of a product of what their strength is. So we really kind of start Xavier Thames at point guard, but then everybody else is what we like to call point forwards. J.J. O'Brien, Winston Shepard. They're like 6'7", 6'8", incredible ball skills. They have a knack for getting to the rim. And also with Josh Davis, he's such an offensive rebounding monster that when he goes to get putbacks in, there's usually a bump or two that he's got to finish. And, a lot of times he gets to go line. And so it's a kind of a product of who we are on why we get to the line so much. But the games we win and the games that, obviously we've won a lot, but it's because we make our free throws when it counts. And I think I want to say we made 10 of 12 to finish that game.
Yeah, well, and I brought up to Justin last night when I was talking with him, you guys do a great job of getting the ball in the hands of the good free throwers, namely Xavier Thames, and he drained him down the pike there in the overtime, because you guys came out in the overtime and outscored them 17-12. That's quite a few points in an overtime.
Yeah, we were rolling going into overtime. We felt pretty confident when that ball went in that we would still have a pretty good chance to win. Our Xavier was on a different level at that point. He was being able to score. He got into the paint, a couple great finishes to Skyler towards the end of that game, and it was nice for us to finish strong and get 17 points in an overtime. And I think I think this is right. I think we're 16-1 in our last 17 overtime games. So Coach Fisher kind of been known now to finish those games.
Hey, when you guys came out on the court the other night, of course, the coaches come out after the team takes the floor. You guys get some pretty good cat calls the other night from the fans during warm-ups?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I wish they would have been a little bit more harsh for how loud and obnoxious they were during the game. But before the game, it was just pretty respectful, to be honest with you. It was nothing out of the ordinary. It's nothing like when you go to the pit. Oh, boy, the pit will let you have it. They'll be talking about your shoes if you got a scuff on them. They'll be going personal jabs at Coach Fisher. But the Utah State student section, they weren't too they never got too personal, which is kind of a sign of class.
Well, maybe they're trying to win the Mountain West Conference Basketball Sportsmanship Award.
That might be the case, but whatever it is, when that ball was tipped, that place got so loud in the second half. Our guys were trying to communicate defensively on ball screens, but it was so loud they couldn't hear each other from 4 feet away.
Hey, I was at Disney on Ice with my granddaughter, and we got in the car. We had 1090 on, so we turned up and listened to Ted. And, I'm waiting for him to give the score. He was kind of recapping the first half. You guys were just getting ready to get the second half underway. So I go, all right, we're going to get home. We're going to see most of the second half. So I got, about the last 12 minutes plus the overtime. But, as soon as the game's over, the TV guys go off the air. What was it like after you guys, the final horn sounds, you guys shake hands? What was the crowd like? Was it like somebody took a pin and popped a balloon?
That's exactly how it was. It was silent. It was kind of almost like a feeling of disbelief from their fans because they don't lose at home very often. I think ESPN during our game threw up a stat when I went and watched it after. They had won in the last 7 or 8 years. I think it was like 91.1% of their games at home.
It was.
That's incredible. That kind of home record is incredible, and we know how hard it is to beat us at Viejas and how important our home court advantage is. But to have one that's better than ours, I mean, that's really, really, really special.
Well, you'll see them again. They'll be coming to Viejas a little bit later in the year. Now, Justin was talking last night. You guys gave the guys a little time off to kind of, get into school and kind of get their legs back because you've been traveling a lot. What's the practice schedule the rest of the week?
We took today off. Tomorrow we'll get right back into it. Probably focus on ourselves again tomorrow like we did yesterday. And yesterday was a pretty light day. I think we were on the floor for about an hour and 15 minutes max. That includes stretching. Tomorrow will be a pretty long day. Really focus on ourselves. Got to get better on some different type of action offensively that we can really kind of sharpen up here as we move forward in conference. And then defensively, you're going to see some wrinkles that you haven't seen out of San Diego State, which should be fun, but we got to do a little bit more teaching. And when you teach, it takes a little bit longer practice. So we'll practice Wednesday. Thursday, we'll probably go pretty hard, guard Colorado State, what we say at pace. And then Friday, we'll taper down, won't go too hard, and then we play Saturday.
You know, I look at the schedule. I mean, you guys have got a lot of tough games coming up. I mean, you still got to go to New Mexico, and they'll be coming here. You got to go to UNLV. You got to go to Wyoming. Those are in Wyoming. You know, they're a very well coached team. I mean, you guys have got a long ways to go in this regular season.
Oh, we absolutely do, and that's one of the fun parts of being around Coach. He's been here before, and he knows how to keep the guys focused, how to keep their minds sharp and on the task at hand. It's tough, though. He's number 5 in the country, 18-1. Every time you turn on ESPN, you see San Diego State. It's going to be hard for our guys. It's going to be a challenge that I think they'll willingly accept to say, how can we move forward with the biggest type of target bullseye on your back that you could ever possibly imagine. Every time we leave Viejas Arena, we're going to go into a sold-out arena to see a top 10 team in the country. And they're going to bring all their students, and everyone's going to want to see, wow, what's this San Diego State team all about? And with that, we got to bring our own A game every single night. And to go to places that are already tough as heck to play, New Mexico, Wyoming to say it. But when you go to Boise State and Taco Bell Arena when it's 16,000 people and it'll be a sold-out game, I mean, those are hard games to win.
Well, you're going to see them, next week?
On Wednesday.
Yeah, that's not going to be a real treat because they're a tough team, and they want to repay the favor that you put on them here at Viejas a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, and they got their favor repaid last year when we went up to their place, and we got the rubber match in the Mountain West Conference tournament. But we know they're going to be ready for us, and they're a hard team. You saw how well they played against us at Viejas, and they think they got our number, but they just can't get the score right.
Well, you got Colorado State coming up this week. Hey, last question, I'll let you go. Well, I got two questions. Number one, what kind of weather are you going to be flying into?
9 degrees right now in Boston, but no snow, Coach. And I'm a California guy, lived here 30 years. I am so afraid of snow. So I'm just, it could be negative something, but just don't bring snow. Don't let it snow, and I'll be okay.
Okay, make sure you get a scarf, okay, if you don't already have one. And the last question I have for you is when you're out on the road like this, do you check in with Coach Fisher once a day, call him and touch base with him? How do you stay in touch with headquarters?
Well, with Coach Fisher, I only let him know about the important stuff. I watched the kid today, and I was so excited about him. I called Coach Fisher right after and let him know. But with Coach Dutcher, Coach Hudson, I talk to them too many times a day if you ask them. But I'm in constant communication with the whole staff. I talked to Matt, and I checked in with Tim Shelton today to make sure all our guys were at class. And so, the open lines of communication with our staff are about as open as you could be. And we, with Coach, I only bring him in when it's extremely important. Don't need to bother him with the minor stuff.
Yeah, just make sure you're checking in with Mark Fisher because he's the guy that runs that show out there.
You better believe it. I always gotta check in with Mark Fisher when I got an offensive thought. I always gotta. He's the mastermind behind it.
Yeah, no question about that. Hey, safe travels, and look forward to seeing you on the bench Saturday.
Thanks, Coach. We're really excited to see you rocking Viejas on Saturday.